Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I know I said I'm going to start doing weekly videos about what has been going on in the world, what is really the trending topic, not necessarily the trending topic, but what the fuck is going on. And that is what I'm doing today again. However, this video I'm only going to have one topic. The last video I did, I had three. However, I just thought that this topic kind of needed its own video, and on top of that, I have been very busy. I haven't really been paying attention too much this week about what has been actually going on, so I didn't want to BS the video about something I just, topics I just pulled out of nowhere. So yeah, this is gonna be a probably short video and about one thing. So go ahead and subscribe if you are not already, and I will be glad to have you, and let's just get into this week's topic. If you guys don't know who Aziz Ansari is, he is, I guess, a comedian and actor. He has his own show on Netflix. He was also in Parks and Rec, one of my favorite shows. He played Tom Haverford. So if you haven't heard about what he did, a woman released an article through a Babe journalist. I'll link the article down below. She basically detailed her experience with her sexual assault regarding Aziz after they met and went on a date. I don't want to really get into all of the details. They are very graphic. I will say that if you are going to read that article, it is very triggering for anyone who has experienced sexual assault. I just want to let you guys know that now, so if you read it, you are not thrown. So the gist of what she said was that he continued to make sexual advances towards her once they had got back to his apartment. He did not really take no for an answer, and in that I mean she made it clear to him multiple times that she did not want to have sex and that she did not want to do anything sexual, and he would kind of back off for a while and then he would go back at it. It was one of those situations where she definitely said no and he thought that meant try again later, which is not okay in any way, shape, or form, and that's why I wanted to make this video separately and standalone, because I think there is a lot to unpack here with this sexual assault. So she reached out to him at the end of the date or the next day and told him that, or I'm not necessarily sure if it was the next day or the next week, whatever. She told him how uncomfortable she felt, how violated she felt, and that she was letting him know so that the next time he had a date that the girl wasn't crying in her Uber on the way home. He basically responded to her that he did not must have misread the situation and that he did not mean to harm her in any way, and that was essentially how far that conversation went. I don't think they ever spoke again after that. However, when her public allegations came out towards Aziz, he did release a public statement. I wouldn't even really call it an apology. He basically said that he believed everything was consensual at the moment and that he was still with the women's movement. He's still here for the women's movement, which was great to hear. Yeah, so I want to really unpack this because there were a lot of men on Twitter who basically said that, if that's what she's calling sexual assault, if that's what we're calling sexual assault, then every woman has been sexually assaulted, or that all men have sexually assaulted someone. And yeah, that's kind of the point. At the end of the day, we have a society that promotes men to basically take what they want without any sort of repercussions. We don't teach men from a young age, nor do we teach women what consent actually means, what that is in terms of sexual behavior. We don't really teach anyone the ins and outs of what consent should be. Consent is when someone consents to partaking in sexual activity with you. However, that does not mean because she does not scream no, or that she does not, you know, freak out on you or yell at you or beat you up for trying to come towards her sexually, that she is agreeing to a sexual interaction. This woman made it clear to Aziz multiple times that even the making out, you know, I think she definitely felt uncomfortable, but she did make it very clear to him that she did not want to partake in any sort of sexual intercourse or anything along those lines, and he did not really care. He would kind of let it go and then reattack the situation. Anytime a woman says to a man, or a man says to a woman, any sort of victim of sexual assault, anytime they say, no, I don't really think so, or I'm not really feeling this, or yeah, I don't think this is something I want to do, that does not mean try again later. But we live in a culture where most people take that as try again later. If she says no once, or he says no once, then that's that, and it should end right there. It does not mean to keep prying and pressure someone into having a sexual interaction with you. There are multiple problems here because most people look at sexual assault in a very one-dimensional way. We look at it as a woman being raped by someone off the street, being grabbed and, you know, kidnapped and raped. We look at it as significant partners or significant others cannot rape their partner. That does not happen. In fact, it often does. We look at it as it doesn't come from family members or friends, all of these other people. We look at it in our society, not we, but our society looks at it in a very one-dimensional way. We don't even allow men to be victims of sexual assault. It has to be women. We don't allow women who have been date raped to really be victims of sexual assault. We have a very limited definition of what sexual assault means, and it ends there for most people. Sexual assault is multi-layered, it is multi-dimensional. It does not mean being explicitly raped by a stranger. It can mean a multitude of things. What Aziz Ansari did to this woman was sexual assault. She made it clear to him that she did not want to partake in his sexual advances, and he did not take that for an answer, and he continued to try. He continued to pressure her into sexual activity. There is a thing such as rape by coercion, and that means when someone tells you, no, I don't want to do this, and you pressure them until they say yes. That is not consent, and no one should ever think that that is consent. Just because someone says yes after hours of you pressuring them to say yes, that does not mean that it is okay and they have in fact been sexually assaulted. I think the reason men are so angry about this Aziz Ansari story is that it makes them hold up a mirror to themselves. It makes them think, have I ever done this to a woman? Would what I did to another woman be considered sexual assault? And I think a lot of men, and maybe some women, would have to look at that and say, yeah, actually, yes, I have done this before. The issue I have with this situation is because this kind of behavior is so commonplace that people do look at it like it is not a big deal, that this is okay, and in reality it's not. But the biggest problem I have with this is that instead of people looking at this and saying, wow, okay, I didn't know that that was wrong. It's one thing to be unaware that your actions are wrong and to correct them and say, you know, I would never do this to another person again because I didn't know that at the time this is how it made this person feel and that I violated someone. Instead of doing that, we see the exact opposite, which is what Aziz did. He did not apologize and say, I was wrong for this, I did not know, I've learned from this, I took my victim's words to heart and I would never do this to someone again because I was unaware. He did the opposite. He justified it. He said, well, what I believed I did was consensual, so that's really that. And that is the problem here, because we cannot grow and learn from these experiences, these sexual assaults, and instead we just look at the people who are coming out about them and completely writing them off as if they are being over dramatic or they are just crying wolf. I want to quickly address the victims who have been in situations like this and say that yes, you are in fact a victim regardless of what anyone else has told you. If you have ever been pressured or coerced into having sex or doing anything sexual with someone that you did not want to do, you are a victim and you were sexually assaulted. Don't let anyone else tell you that you are being over dramatic or that you are just making things up, because your feelings are real, and I don't want anyone to ever feel like they have to, the way that our society makes them feel, that they have to stifle their own hurt and abuse in order to appease everyone else. And I also want to quickly address the abusers who are watching this video, or just the people who have done something like this and may not have known or may not have been aware because they were taught that behavior like this is okay or that it is the norm. I think you should really look at yourself and think about if you want to be that person that does this to other people. Do you really want it to be the person who is having sexual partners by coercion because you are making them feel like they have no choice but to say yes? You should really look at yourself. Do you want to be the person who is really scarring women or scarring men, violating them because of your own sexual pleasure? I don't think anyone would want to be that person. Any person who has any sort of empathy for others or has any sort of remorse, if you have been that person in the past, it is okay to look at yourself and say that you screwed up and that you have now learned from your behavior and that you would never do something like that again. But if you are the kind of person who is looking at it and saying, nah, I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing because I've been getting by this far, then you are really a big part of the problem and you are an abuser. So if you are not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I post videos every week. I'm still trying to figure out which days, we're gonna see. But yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this weekly update of what the fuck is going on in the world, and we will see you next week. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.